Not feel oneself.
I'm sorry for crying. I'm not myself today.
I'm not myself today. Não estou bem hoje.
I'm sorry for getting upset at you earlier. I'm just not myself today. I know Mary hasn't been herself ever since she lost her job. I think there's something wrong. He's not himself. She seemed to be improving last week, but she's just not feeling herself today. I don't know what's wrong. I just don't feel quite myself.
Não me sinto bem.
I haven't been quite myself for the last few weeks. She said she hasn't been feeling herself lately. I hope you don't mind if I cancel our date this afternoon. I just don't feel myself today. Sorry, I'm not myself today. I've had some bad news.
Keep one's shirt on.
Keep your shirt on. Your car isn't even scratched.
Fica calmo, seu carro não está nem sequer arranhado.
Aren't you ready yet? Keep your shirt on. I'll be ready in a minute. Keep your shirt on, dude. The pizza will be here soon enough. Everything would have gone smoothly if Larry had been able to keep his shirt on instead of trying to get in early. I'll be right with you. Keep your shirt on. Keep your pants on. You're next. The doorbell rang. Helen told the caller to keep his shirt on, angry because she felt the ringing had been excessive. Can we go already? Keep your pants on. I'm still getting dressed.
Keep your pants on. Calma aí.
For heaven's sake, hurry up, Pete. All right, keep your shirt on. I'm just coming.
Fique tranquilo.
I told him to keep his shirt on, that they'd soon be here.
Reverse oneself.
The mayor has reversed himself on the issue of raising taxes.
Mudou de ideia.
Suddenly, he reversed himself completely. In the past, the senator has supported these programs, but last year he reversed himself. It would mean reversing himself on 3 points: price reform, budget discipline, and privatization of land and property. She has reversed herself on dozens of issues. He had the guts to reverse himself during the campaign.
Mudar de ideia.
The pressure was so violent that to keep peace in the family, he had to reverse himself. How did you persuade Douglas and Sandra to reverse themselves? The effect will naturally reverse itself in time. If you do your best, the loss will disappear or even reverse itself.
Se você fizer o seu melhor, o prejuízo desaparecerá ou até mesmo se inverterá. Reverse itself.
The favorable economic situation in certain developing countries can reverse itself. The homicide rate began to reverse itself as people returned to the city.
Se reverter.
If you return her back to just before she was killed, will the history reverse itself?
Clued up.
He's totally clued up on the latest computer developments.
Entendido. Clued up.
I've always found him clued up on whatever he was talking about. I'm quite clued up on America. She's totally clued up. Deborah is much more clued up about movies than I am. Ask Margaret. She's pretty clued up about that sort of thing. I'm not too clued up on Turtle's habits. A very clued up friend of mine had this thought. We rarely wake up before 4 p.m., so we're not too clued up about breakfast television. He is one of the smartest and most clued up bloggers out there.
No one's way around. Way around.
I don't know my way around the city yet.
Eu ainda não estou familiarizada com a cidade.
They know their way around computers.
Eles sabem se virar com computadores.
She knows her way around Boston.
Está familiarizada.
He seems to know his way around the shipping industry. Thanks to smartphones, you don't need to know your way around a professional camera to take a fine picture these days. They seem to know their way around. At least one of them must have been familiar with the layout. She really knows her way around a sailboat. Those two guys really know their way around an engine. Ellie knew her way around pretty well. I'd used the library before, so I knew my way around and found the book quite quickly. She knows her way around a wine list. Fortunately, I knew my way around cars. For he is convinced he knows his way around better than anyone else on earth.
Have an eye for detail.
She has an eye for detail.
Ele é bem detalhista.
He's a filmmaker who has an eye for detail. It is helpful to have a good eye for detail when you are building a house. Susan has a keen eye for detail, so each dress is beautifully finished off. All candidates must have an eye for detail, a desire to give exceptional service, and a passion for food. My team need to have an eye for detail and be happy being on their feet all day. My team need to have an eye for detail. To have a good eye for detail. Proofreaders need to have a good eye for detail. Aside from being lucky and being patient, you also need to have an eye for detail. Brad has an eye for detail and assists the operational team with new ideas. No wonder he noticed those errors. He's always had an eye for detail. Being well organized and able to manage time, as well as having an eye for detail, is advantageous.
Role model. Modelos de comportamento.
Sports stars are role models for thousands of youngsters. A therapist can serve as a positive role model. Athletes should remember that they are role models.
Exemplos de comportamento.
He thinks I'm a good role model for his teenage daughter. You are her mom and her most important role model. Role models from the real world are vital. She's such a good role model.
Ela é um modelo de comportamento tão bom.
I want to be a positive role model for my sister. She is a leader and role model for many women in business. She's a very bad role model for those young girls who look up to her.
You betcha. Pode apostar.
Were there surprises? You betcha. It's good to have everyone together, don't you think? Oh, you betcha. And would you like some French fries with that? You betcha.
Pode apostar.
Worth the wait? You betcha. British waiters will learn to say enjoy and welcome and you betcha and sound like they mean it. Hey Frank, do you want to come with us to the movies? You betcha I do. Is it okay if Frank brings his girlfriend? You betcha. Tommy's bringing Sarah as well, so it's no problem at all. Will I be there? You betcha. Can you mow my lawn while I'm away? You betcha. Are you going to the hockey game this weekend? You betcha.
In a tight spot. Em apuros.
Charles' gambling debts have put him in a tight spot financially.
Situação delicada.
She can usually talk her way out of tight corners. He's a good man to have around if ever you're in a tight corner.
em maus lençóis tight
Did
corner.
something go wrong? Let's just say I got into a bit of a tight spot. People in tight corners always turn to her for help. This puts the chairman in a very tight spot. I hope you can help me get out of a tight spot. 8 extra bullets in a tight spot could mean the difference between life and death. In a tight spot, there is no one I would sooner see than Frank. So we are talking about a man who knows how to handle himself in a tight spot. He's in a bit of a tight spot at the moment. The bank has given him 1 week to find $2,000.
With a care in the world. Sem se preocuparem com nada.
They play video games and eat junk food without a care in the world.
Eles jogam videogames e comem porcaria sem se preocuparem com nada.
They play video games and eat junk food without a care in the world. Without a care in the world, they both let their son get away with anything. I constantly feel stressed, but my sister skips through life without a care in the world. She was driving along without a care in the world. It felt good to be back in a friendly atmosphere without a care in the world. These are the best days of training, with good friends and without a care in the world. There were plenty of families there, all having fun without a care in the world. I saw the shepherd and marveled at the way he effortlessly controlled his dog collecting his sheep, apparently without a care in the world. He acts as if he does not have a care in the world. Susie looked as if she didn't have a care in the world. She was on stage doing what she loved, and she didn't have a care in the world.
Have it your own way. Faça como quiser.
All right, have it your own way. I'm tired of arguing.
Está bem, faça como quiser. Estou cansado de discutir.
Well, have it your own way. I don't care anymore. All right then, have it your way. Be like that.
Be like that. Seja assim.
Fine, have it your way. Sit in the sun. But I won't be the one slathering aloe on you if you get sunburned. I would like to paint this room blue. I prefer yellow. I really do. Okay, have it your way. It's a shame not to take advantage of this situation, but have it your own way. You know what? Have it your own way then. You have it your own way, Mr. Tilson. I am just trying to help here. All right, miss, have it your own way, but don't blame me for what happens. Let's get a pie. Apple would be good. No, if we are going to buy a whole pie, I want a cherry pie. Oh, have it your way.
Get a load of. Se liga.
Get a load of what we've just done.
Se liga no que acabamos de fazer.
Get a load of George over there. That dude knows how to dress. Get a load of Mary. She looks just drop-dead gorgeous.
Olha só.
Get a load of this. Someone in the next town over won the lottery last week. Get a load of that dress. Get a load of this. Your stars say you are going to meet someone who's rich. Get a load of Ted's new haircut. Did you get a load of that violinist? Man, just get a load of that car.
Frog with. Preocupante. Frog day.
Today was a fraught day.
Fraught day.
Today was a day fraught with worries. The situation was fraught with danger.
Repleta, né?
The paper was poorly researched and fraught with errors. The negotiations have been fraught with problems right from the start. From beginning to end, the airlift was fraught with risks. Writing about science at a popular level is a task fraught with difficulty. The earliest operations employing this technique were fraught with dangers. He had a life fraught with hardship. This also shows why getting another job is so fraught with difficulty. Mankind's road to Mars is fraught with perils and unanswered questions. Yet the landscape is as clouded by uncertainty as it is fraught with economic danger. The degree of serenity that she brought to a day fraught with nerves made a profound impact.
Spread too thin.
Between school, work, and volunteering, I've just been spreading myself a bit too thin lately. I know you're eager to branch out across the state, but we have to be careful not to spread our team too thin.
Sobrecarregarmos a nossa equipe.
It's a good idea to get involved in a lot of activities, but don't spread yourself too thin.
Não se sobrecarregue.
I'm too busy these days. I'm afraid I've spread myself too thin.
Acho que peguei coisas demais para fazer.
Tom's exhausted, what with work, volunteer activities, and social life. He's spread himself too thin. I'm sorry, but I can't take on another tutoring job this semester. I've already spread myself thin. I realized I'd been spreading myself too thin, so I resigned as secretary of the golf club. The company has expanded into many different areas and has probably spread itself too thin.
Sobrecarregou demais.
Many college students spread themselves thin by taking on too many activities during the semester. The company grew too fast and spread itself too thin across too many diverse areas. Don't spread yourself too thin.
Não se sobrecarregue demais.
Do you worry about spreading yourself too thin?
Take heart. Ânimo.
Take heart. Eventually, everything gets better. Take heart. You'll be done soon, and you won't have to think about this paper ever again.
Ânimo. Take
Take
heart.
heart. We may still win this game. Take heart. You're not alone. I know you're upset about getting a rejection letter, but take heart. There's a good chance one of the other schools will accept you. I told her to take heart and try again next time.
Sure thing.
Your promotion is a sure thing. You're the best person for the job.
Algo garantido.
This proposal is by no means a sure thing. He thinks that the real estate business is a sure thing. You should have learned by now that no business model is a sure thing. Getting into the playoffs is a sure thing now, so we can be a little bit more relaxed about this game. I think death is really the only sure thing in our lives. The performance has made Phoenix a virtual sure thing for the Best Actor Oscar. That horse is a sure thing in the race at 3:30. It's a sure thing that he'll refuse to cooperate. Could you give me a ride home tonight? Sure thing. Can you give me a hand moving this table? Sure thing. Could you bring a dessert to the dinner party? Sure thing. Be careful. Sure thing, Dad. So long.
Tome cuidado. Pode deixar, pai. Até mais.
Tell the board we're meeting tomorrow. Sure thing, Mr. Johnson. Would you mind taking this shirt to the dry cleaner for me? Sure thing. When do you need it back? Thanks for your call, Joe. Sure thing.
De nada. Sure thing.
Thanks a lot for your help. Sure thing. Thanks for helping me fix the hen house. Sure thing.
Happen to be. Acontece que eles.
They happened to be unemployed at the time. This happens to be my favorite restaurant. She happened to be out when we called. This happens to be my house. That happens to be my mother you're talking about. I see her taking the elevator up to the top floor every morning. Well, she happens to be the dean of the college. Her office is up there. The door happened to be unlocked. Start with any old folder that happens to be on your desktop. Wow, that guy just drove by fast. Well, he happens to be the town sheriff. I don't think he's worried about getting a speeding ticket. The animal will move into any refuge that happens to be conveniently available.
At one's best. No seu auge.
The photographer tried hard to show the bride at her best. He was at his best about 5 years ago, but his performance has really started to decline lately. She was at her best in the new film. The singer was at her best when she performed live at the show. At her best, she really was a stylish actress. At his best, he's one of the most exciting tennis players in the world. He's at his best after a good nap. I'm not at my best when I'm angry. I'd only just got out of bed, so I wasn't at my best. I am not a morning person, and I won't be at my best until at least noon. He was never at his best early in the morning. If I sometimes see them at their worst, I sometimes see them at their best as well.
No seu pior, no seu melhor.
You have to buy this CD. It's rock and roll at its best. This restaurant serves gourmet food at its best. We all like to show our appearance at its best. To see New England at its best, you should come in September when the leaves start to change color.
Come easy.
Writing has always come easy to me, even as a child. Swimming comes easy to a fish. Acting has always come easy to her. Success hasn't come easy to her. Playing the guitar just doesn't come easy to me, maybe because I have no sense of rhythm. Jackie isn't a great outfielder, but pitching seems to come easy to her. Public speaking does not come easy to most people. Change doesn't always come easy. For many of us, communicating openly and sympathetically does not come easy. Though I hardly seemed qualified to write a book about a 20-year marriage, the novel came easy. For many students, the decision to study science came easy because of family interests. You will probably find that this comes easy and that you are happier and more confident than you thought you would be.
Dig someone, something.
I just don't dig what you are saying.
Eu não estou entendendo o que você está dizendo.
You dig my meaning, man?
Entende o que eu estou dizendo, cara?
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I dig you, man. Did you dig what he just said? Yeah, I dig you. I also hate Mondays. I'm going to ask Cynthia out on a date tonight. I really dig her.
Eu gosto muito dela.
Hey, I really dig those shoes. He really digs classical music. I really dig walking in the park. I dig this guy. He's a real class act.
Gente boa. Real class act. Have a lot on one's plate.
I just have a lot on my plate right now while I'm finishing up my degree and doing this huge project for work.
Já tenho coisa demais para fazer.
She has a lot on her plate right now. She's got a lot on her plate, especially with 2 new projects starting this week.
Coisa demais para fazer.
The aid agencies have enough on their plate without having unnecessary visitors to take care of. We have enough on our plate. There is plenty of work to be done on what we have. What with the new baby and the new house, they have a lot on their plate. I can't take that on now. I've got too much on my plate already. He said he can't take on more work at the moment, that he's got too much on his plate as it is. I don't really want this job. Besides, I've got too much on my plate right now anyway.
True and true. Da cabeça aos pés.
My mother is Irish through and through.
Da cabeça aos pés.
I know him through and through, and he would never do such a cowardly thing. I've gotten my feet soaked and feel frozen through and through. He is a socialist through and through. He was obviously a city kid through and through. That woman's evil through and through. She's a student through and through, which is why she decided to pursue a doctorate. He's a gentleman through and through. He was good-hearted through and through, and very close to his friends. People assume they know me through and through the moment we meet. I know Elizabeth through and through, and I really doubt that she's mad at you. I was angry through and through, and I had to sit and recover before I could talk to anyone. I've studied this report through and through, trying to find the facts you've mentioned.
O completo.
Those UFO claims were examined through and through and were found to be completely bogus.
Bugs, falsas.
HGH is a hormone through and through, much like testosterone and estrogen.
Easy come, easy go.
I lost 500 pounds in a card game last night, but that's life. Easy come, easy go.
O que vem fácil, vai fácil.
My attitude to money is slightly easy come, easy go. I lost the $50 I won at the casino really quickly. Well, easy come, easy go. Do you remember how I told you yesterday that I got a promotion? Well, they demoted me. Easy come, easy go, I suppose. I won a lot of money at the casino last night, but lost it on my way out. Oh well, easy come, easy go. His posture towards money has always been easy come, easy go. She isn't used to working for her own money. Her husband gives her everything that she wants. She has even crashed her new car. I guess it's a case of easy come, easy go. I never really applied for my job. I just kind of lucked into it. That's why I wasn't disappointed when I lost it. Easy come, easy go. Easy come, easy go. That's how it is for her when she invests in the stock market. Rick earned lots of money illegally, but today he has nothing left. Easy come, easy go. Of course you found $10 on the street and immediately spent it. Easy come, easy go.
Cringe-worthy. Constrangedora.
His attempt at an apology was cringeworthy.
Constrangedora.
I saw a cringeworthy photo shoot of him posing on a motorbike. The play's cast was excellent, but the dialogue was unforgivably cringeworthy. I'm afraid the whole story sounds pretty cringeworthy to me. We had to sit through a cringeworthy stand-up comedy routine. There were so many cringeworthy moments in that party. I'm fortunate in never having worked with anyone who talks at length about their sex life, because this is truly cringeworthy. She is, for lack of a better word, cringeworthy. He's so cringeworthy that he's surpassed the point that defines comedy. Most of his jokes were so cringeworthy that they made all the insects in my house curl up into tight little balls and die. Most of the writing is cringeworthy, dull to read, lacking in direction, and possesses little or no identity. The man described the act, which involved wearing tampons in their ears, as cringeworthy.
Same old, same old.
How's work? Oh, you know, same old, same old.
O mesmo de sempre, same old.
We always sit around and do the same old, same old. Let's go out this week. What are you doing this summer? Same old, loading up the car and heading to the beach. Most people just keep on doing the same old every day. Economists propose the same old on tax reform. We come here time after time, and we talk about the same old. Meanwhile, I'll just still be here, same old. How is life treating you? Same old. What's up with you? There's nothing interesting going on, just same old. There's a lot of commercialism for Christmas, a lot of the same old.
Mesmice, same old.
They just wanted to try something different, because they were tired of the same old. While it's a lonely life on the road, 12-hour drives, same old at dinner every night, there's solace in knowing people care about what you do.
On top of the world.
She was feeling on top of the world.
Nas alturas.
2 months before she gave birth to Jason, she left work feeling on top of the world.
Em êxtase.
When she came back from that holiday, she was so happy, on top of the world. She made me feel alive and on top of the world. I feel on top of the world. She was feeling on top of the world after winning the tennis tournament. You can feel on top of the world and perform badly. You can feel bad and perform well. She felt on top of the world that morning. I was on top of the world when I found out that I'd gotten an A on my hardest exam. Kathy has been on top of the world ever since she got that big promotion at work. Since he got a new job, he's on top of the world.
Live to regret. Se arrependa no futuro.
If you don't travel now, you might live to regret it. You're wasting your time with him, and you'll live to regret it. If you marry him, you'll live to regret it. He may think leaving his wife for another woman is a good idea, but he'll live to regret it. If you put all your money in this real estate deal, I guarantee you'll live to regret it. Those who put work before their family life often live to regret it. If we don't let the police do their job, we may all live to regret it. It will cost us money, but if we hand this problem on to the next generation, we will live to regret it. Some people commit minor offenses when they are young and live to regret it. If you so much as tell one single soul about this, you will live to regret it. As soon as I accepted the dare, I knew I would live to regret it.
No, no. Inaceitável.
Total nudity is still a definite no-no on most of Europe's beaches. Coloring your hair was a no-no at that time. Here, kissing the first time you meet someone is a big no-no. Wearing shorts to work is a no-no.
Inaceitável.
Even though his company wasn't the one involved in the case, what he did is considered a definite no-no. We all know that cheating on our taxes is a no-no. That's a big no-no.
Isto é algo que simplesmente não se faz.
Not showering after the gym is a definite no-no. For now, booze is an absolute no-no as part of my recovery. Here, lighting fires is another no-no. In technical terms, this is a big no-no.
Keep a straight face. Conter o riso.
She tried to keep a straight face, but unable to contain herself, burst into laughter. How can you say that and keep a straight face? It was very difficult to keep a straight face. He looked so ridiculous, I don't know how I managed to keep a straight face. It was hard to keep a straight face with everyone else laughing. My assistant tried to keep a straight face. What went through Tom's mind, I can't imagine, but he did manage to keep a straight face. He even managed to keep a straight face as he said so. It's so hard to keep a straight face on camera when everyone around you is hilarious. The school orchestra played so many wrong notes that I had trouble keeping a straight face. I don't see that there's anything funny about it, he said, offended. Of course there isn't, she said, trying to keep a straight face.
Will do.
A simple yes or no will do.
Simples sim ou não bastará. Will do bastará.
I don't need any more cake, thank you. One piece will do, for me. Don't lie to me, only the truth will do. I suppose we ought to tip the waiter, but I've only got 20 francs left. That'll do. All I've got to offer you is instant coffee. That'll do me. I'd prefer to use glue, but tape will do.
Tape, you do.
Don't worry, this room will do just fine.
Servirá.
An empty box will do for a table. This reply will do for the time being.
Servirá.
If you haven't got a proper bandage, any strip of clean cotton or linen will do. Can you finish it by tomorrow? Sure, boss, will do.
Claro, chefe, pode deixar. You do.
Can you read through this report for me? Will do. Could you wake me up when you get up? No problem, will do.
Will do.
Make sure you understand this before the next class. Will do for sure.
Pode deixar com certeza.
One of us needs to verify the source. Will do, but I could use some help. If you see Amy at work tomorrow, tell her to call me. Will do.
Pode deixar. So far. Até agora.
So far, they have met with no success. Which one have you enjoyed most so far? I think he's done a great job so far. So far, only 2 Democrats have entered the race for governor. There have been 11 deaths from TB so far. So far, we have not had to borrow any money. They're delighted with the replies they've received from the public so far. There haven't been any accidents in this factory so far, and let's hope that none happen in the future. How's the book? It's been a bit boring so far. Hopefully it picks up in the second half. So far, we've only been able to secure 3 outside investors. Their loyalty only went so far.
Até agora.
The church can only go so far in secular matters.
Até certo ponto.
You can only get so far on good looks alone.
Você só consegue ir até certo ponto para obter uma boa aparência sozinho.
You can only get so far on good looks alone. We were able to plan only so far because of various factors beyond our control. You'll need proper funding if you want this to succeed. There's only so far an ambitious idea will take you. I hope you have some cash on you, because we'll only get so far on $5 worth of gas.
Reruns. Resolve umas coisas.
After school, he runs errands for his father.
Depois da escola, ele resolve umas coisas para o pai dele.
After school, he runs errands for his father. Sorry, I cannot see you now. I have to run errands. She was forever running errands for her housebound grandmother.
Resolveu umas coisas.
Can you see if your father can come pick you up? I've been running errands all day, and I don't want to trek across town yet again. A wealthy woman in the apartment above ours occasionally asked me to run errands for her. I'm just stepping out to run an errand. I'll be back soon. I've got to run an errand. I'll be back in a minute. John went to run an errand. He'll be back shortly. What do you like to do? I'm really big on running errands. Frank drifted into running dodgy errands for a local villain. I spent the morning running household errands. I went to the cleaners, the supermarket, and the hardware store. 12 years into marriage, our days often involve running errands, dealing with finances, caring for children, or just doing the dishes.
Not to mention.
He's one of the kindest and most intelligent, not to mention handsome, men I know.
Sem falar. Not to mention.
The weather here is gorgeous, not to mention the wonderful food. Pollution has a negative effect on the health of everyone living in the city, not to mention the damage to the environment. It's too far to walk, not to mention the fact that it'll probably be closed by now anyway. The lawyer said the culprit may face a prison sentence, not to mention a $3.4 million bill.
Sem falar.
They have the support of the farm workers' unions, not to mention technicians and mental health professionals. The audience, not to mention the bewildered cast, were not amused. It was both deliberate and malicious, not to mention clever. I've already got to spend 3 hours in the car running errands, not to mention the hour and a half it will take to pick up the kids from school. They have 2 massive houses in the city, not to mention their vacation home by the beach. I don't think the voters will want that big program, not to mention the cost. Dave teaches trumpet and trombone, not to mention other brass instruments. Their house is worth at least $1 million, not to mention their other assets.
Close to home.
This problem is particularly close to home for many parents.
Envolve muitos pais diretamente. Close to home.
His comments struck unpleasantly close to home.
Próximos da minha realidade. Close to home.
My patient's lung cancer diagnosis is close to home for me because my uncle recently died of the same thing.
Toca de perto.
Because I was bullied as a kid, I teared up when my son told me that he gets teased at school. It's just so close to home.
Muito pessoal para mim.
Her remarks were a bit too close to home. I took her review as a personal insult. That description of orphans really was too close to home. The teacher's criticisms of her work got her where she lives. That remark about their marriage hit close to home. Its message struck so close to home that it moved me to tears. Her remarks about me were embarrassingly close to home.
Deep down. Deep down.
Deep down, I know you love me.
Lá no fundo, eu sei que você me ama.
You say you forgive him, but deep down, aren't you still angry? We knew deep down that we could do it. Deep down, we had always detested each other. He knew deep down inside that she was right. Deep down, I think we all felt the same way. Deep down, he's really a very thoughtful person. Deep down inside, I knew that what I did was wrong. I tried to put on a brave face after the breakup, but deep down, I was in agony. He acts like a jerk most of the time, but deep down, I think Nate is a good guy. She's very generous deep down, but this only comes out when you get to know her. He seems very confident, but deep down, I think he's quite shy. He might look like a mean old man, but deep down inside, he is a very kind person. I felt so bad showing off, because deep down, I suffer from a huge inferiority complex. I watch all these programs on TV, and deep down, I wonder, what have they got that I haven't?
Down in the dumps. Para baixo.
He was either down in the dumps or up high.
Ele estava para baixo ou para alto?
She's a bit down in the dumps because she failed one of her exams.
Deprimida.
It was all very sad, and everyone was down in the dumps.
Deprimidos.
She's feeling a bit down in the dumps and needs cheering up. She's down in the dumps because all her friends are out of town. Molly's been moping around all week, and I have no idea why she's so down in the dumps. Rob has been down in the dumps ever since Gloria broke up with him. I guess I'm just down in the dumps. Some Mondays, I just feel in the dumps. Tom's a bit down in the dumps. Let's try to cheer him up. She's feeling a bit down in the dumps.
Through the roof.
When they realized he'd lied to them, his parents went through the roof.
Meus pais ficaram fulos.
When I was expelled from school, my parents went through the roof.
Quando fui expulso da escola, meus pais ficaram furiosos.
When I was expelled from school, my parents went through the roof. Put that back before Dad sees you and hits the roof. Sergeant Long will hit the roof when I tell him you've gone off. I admitted what I had done and found myself in terrible trouble. He went through the roof. Prices have gone through the roof. Sales of their new CD have gone through the roof.
Dispararam.
Share prices have gone through the roof in the past 6 months. No wonder inflation is going through the roof, and our environment ends up choked with litter. Following news of increased profits, the company's share price went through the roof. Sales of those products went through the roof.
Dispararam.
They predict business will go through the roof. Prices for Korean art have gone through the roof. House prices were going through the roof.
In the dog house.
He's in the doghouse for forgetting his wife's birthday.
Ele está na lista negra por ter esquecido do aniversário da esposa.
He's in the doghouse for forgetting his wife's birthday. I'm in the doghouse. I broke Sarah's favorite vase this morning. If I don't do something for Mother's Day, I'll really be in the doghouse. If I don't do something for Mother's Day, I'll really be in the doghouse. I seem to be in the doghouse with her, but I don't know why. I'll be in the doghouse.
Doghouse.
You've been in the doghouse with Maria ever since you forgot her birthday. I'm really in the doghouse with my boss. I was late for an appointment. Jane knew that forgetting the check would put her in the doghouse. If you give her a birthday card and nothing else, you'll be in the doghouse. He plays a salesman in the doghouse for repeatedly turning up late. I'm in the doghouse for forgetting Valentine's Day. I hate being in the doghouse all the time. I don't know why I can't stay out of trouble.
Look alike.
The twins look alike, but they differ in temperament. You and your father don't look very much alike. The children all look very alike. Broadly speaking, all these towns looked alike. My mother and I look alike in many ways. They look so alike that it's easy to mix them up. For the first few months, the babies looked so alike, I couldn't tell which was which. Her new love is a look-alike of a celebrity. See more celebrity look-alikes online. She's a Marilyn Monroe look-alike. Faced with a row of look-alike singers, the audience must guess in which direction attention should be directed.
In full swing.
The advertising campaign is already in full swing.
A todo vapor, em full swing.
By 8:30, the party was in full swing. Their career is in full swing. If you're not coming home for Christmas, you need to tell Mom, because her planning is already in full swing.
A todo vapor.
After a slow start, the convention is now in full swing. In the summer months, things really get into full swing around here. After the strike, it would be some time before production was in full swing. 12 days after the hurricane, officials say recovery efforts are at last in full swing.
A todo vapor.
When we arrived at 10 o'clock, the party was already in full swing. The tourist season in London is in full swing at the moment.
Real quick.
Please go to the store real quick.
Real quick.
I can make those cookies real quick. I need you to do something for me real quick. Wow, that was real quick. Hey, I need to borrow your car real quick. I'll be right back. Let me look at this flyer real quick. Can I ask you a question real quick? I've got to run to the drugstore real quick. Let me wash my hands real quick. This leadership thing can go south real quick. Bobby, let me get a picture of you guys real quick. Let me show you something real quick.
Off the mark.
I never once said that. Your reporter's account is completely off the mark.
Eu nunca disse isso. A versão do seu repórter está totalmente equivocada.
I never once said that. Your reporter's account is completely off the mark. I thought I knew what the real estate costs were around here, but wow, I was totally off the mark.
Eu passei longe.
Their estimates were completely off the mark.
Equivocadas.
His efforts to console her were off the mark.
Passaram de longe.
His criticisms are way off the mark.
Totalmente erradas. Off the mark.
Bedini and Kersey were probably not far off the mark in their analysis. His answers on the test were just wide of the mark. The forecast was off the mark. Robinson didn't think the story was so far off the mark. Our cost estimate was way off the mark. Her theory was way off the mark.
Cut the crap. Pare de enrolar.
Just cut the crap and tell me what you really want from me. Cut the crap and tell me what really happened.
Pare de enrolar.
Please cut the crap and tell us what really happened at his birthday party. I wish my boss would cut the crap and tell us what is really going on in the company. Unless you cut the crap, we will never get this project completed in time. Just cut the crap and tell me what you need from me. I'm running late. You can cut the crap. We know that you were the one who crashed the car. Cut the crap. I know you're lying to me. Look, can we cut the crap and call this what it is? I'm being fired, not reallocated. We'll never get this room painted unless you guys cut the crap and start working. Cut the crap and tell me what you really think, okay?
Fill someone's shoes.
You do so much for the company that I don't see how anyone could fill your shoes.
Assumir o seu lugar.
Not many people could fill the old man's shoes. It'll take a good man to fill our old boss's shoes. No one will be able to fill her shoes after she retires. The senator will step down this year, but two well-known Republicans are ready to fill his shoes. John expects his son to fill his shoes at the store.
Assuma o lugar dele na loja.
It'll be hard to find someone to fill her shoes when she retires. There are a couple kids who can fill their shoes. Anyone can become a pop idol these days, but the number of genuine legends is shrinking, and it is debatable who can fill their shoes. I decided to move on, and I'm sure there are plenty of good, young guys capable of filling my shoes.
Make a splash.
The young director is making a splash in Hollywood.
Fazendo estardalhaço.
The news of her arrest made a huge splash.
Fez estardalhaço enorme.
Jodie Foster made quite a splash in the film Taxi Driver. His new film has made quite a splash in London. Cameron Diaz made a big splash in The Mask. Now she's made a splash in a top American television show. Russell's new show made a big splash in New York. She made quite a splash at the party with her outspoken views and colorful and expensive clothes. The low-budget indie movie is making a big splash with audiences worldwide. The video game franchise was canceled after its latest version failed to make a splash. His debut single comes out in May, but has already made quite a splash in the States.
Caput.
The refrigerator is kaput.
Estragou.
What's happened to your car? It's kaput. The washing machine is suddenly kaput. The chronometer is kaput, which doesn't matter at all. I still wouldn't be able to relate the chronometer to longitude. The old car finally went kaput. The engine suddenly went kaput, and I didn't know what to do. My computer went kaput, and I lost my term paper.
Estragou.
Their marriage is kaput.
Acabou.
He finally admitted that his film career was kaput. When he emerged from his drunken stupor, he realized that his relationship with Melly was kaput. The hardline Soviet-style communism became kaput in Russia. Breaking Bad, one of the greatest television dramas of all time, with a finale that attracted 10.3 million viewers, is kaput. Once the Germans were forced to retreat from Stalingrad, the Nazi cause was kaput. His conclusion is simple. Capitalism is kaput, and revolution is the only solution. However, he insists all this can be achieved through love, peace, and understanding.
Be not about you.
I am not about to work this Sunday.
Eu é que não vou trabalhar nesse domingo.
I am not about to work this Sunday. She wasn't about to pay $500 on a dress. I'm not about to give up coffee, even if the doctor tells me it's bad for me. I'm not about to work on this after hours if the deadline isn't until next month. Jane wasn't about to pay all that extra money just to get a different color. The Daily Planet is not about to attack a charity organization.
O Planeta Diário é que não irá atacar uma instituição de caridade.
We have a limited supply of medication, and I'm not about to waste it. I'm not about to create a citywide panic. He's not about to let this invitation go unanswered. Mr. and Mrs. Hanson were not about to allow their daughter to marry that man. She'll marry him over my dead body, said Mrs. Hanson. A complete stranger called me and asked for my social security number. Obviously, I was not about to give him that information. I've never smoked in my life, and I'm not about to start now. I've never done any cooking, and I'm not about to start now. I have never so much as taken a sick day, and I'm not about to start now. I've never lost a bet, and I'm not about to start right now.
Fall flat. Caiu.
Bobby fell flat on his face and skinned his nose.
Bob caiu de cara e esfolou o nariz.
Bobby fell flat on his face and skinned his nose. He missed one of the steps on the porch and fell flat on his face on the sidewalk. A man walked in off the street and fell flat on his face, unconscious. He made several jokes, and each of them fell flat.
E nenhuma teve efeito.
Some of the jokes were pretty funny. Others fell flat.
Outras não produziram efeito.
Without him, the whole evening would have fallen flat. My attempt at a joke fell flat.
A minha tentativa de fazer piada não teve resultado. Fell flat.
Liz meant it as a joke, but it fell flat. The champagne opening of a new art gallery fell flat when the boss's wife fired a cork straight through the most expensive painting on show. He then started trying to tell jokes to the assembled gathering. These too fell flat. Good luck. The last time management tried to implement a new dress code, that measure fell flat. She was badly disappointed when the evening fell flat. If it wasn't for the main actress, Ellen Barkin, the plot would have fallen flat on its face. I didn't think the comedian was funny at all. Most of his jokes fell completely flat.
A maioria das piadas dele foram um fracasso total. Leave it to someone.
And I will leave it to you, dear reader, to make a choice.
E eu vou deixar para você, caro leitor, tomar uma decisão.
And I will leave it to you, dear reader, to make a choice. I'll leave setting up the internet and stuff to Janet. She's better with those sorts of things. I find it difficult to put my thoughts and feelings about this tragedy into words, so I will leave it to others. Will you do this as soon as possible? Leave it to me. I need someone to get my wife when she arrives from the airport. I need someone to get my wife when she arrives from the airport. I'm sick today. Can you take the children to school? Yeah, leave it to me. Just get some rest.
Deixa comigo.
I need to find someone who can fix my back fence. Leave it to me. I've already got all the tools and materials I'll need. She did it all wrong again. Leave it to Janet. Leave it to Brian to screw up the one thing we asked him to do. Leave it to you to have the whole day planned out. Leave it to Harry to mess things up. My computer isn't connecting to the internet. Ugh, leave it to the IT department. They're always changing the login passwords without telling us.
Leave someone to it.
I just had a question about the order, but I can see that you're busy, so I'll just leave you to it.
Então vou lhe deixar a sós.
We left him to it after he made it clear that he didn't need our help.
Nós o deixamos a sós após ele deixar claro que não precisava da nossa ajuda.
We left him to it after he made it clear that he didn't need our help. He is professional enough to know what needs doing, so I just left him to it. Oh well, we'll leave you to it, Derek. You seem to be managing very well by yourself. I hate to leave before the job is finished, but I'll have to leave you to it. I will leave them to it. I have to go home now. You are busy now, so we'll leave you to it, but we can come over later if you like. After I'd fixed her computer, I said, "Okay then, I'll leave you to it, but let me know if it crashes again." Looks like you've gotten everything taken care of. I'm gonna leave you to it. Diana took the hint and left them to it.
Diana se tocou e os deixou a sós.
Diana took the hint and left them to it. She realized that he didn't want her help, so she left him to it. I left her to it. I left her to finish the job by herself.
No laughing matter. Não é brincadeira.
Being late for a job interview is no laughing matter.
Atrasar-se para uma entrevista de emprego não é brincadeira.
The problem was no laughing matter.
Nada engraçado.
For Sam, his own safety was no laughing matter. Their behavior is an offense. It's no laughing matter. It's no laughing matter when you lose your job. It's no laughing matter having to walk by a group of rowdy drunks every night just to get home. I am a gout sufferer, and it's no laughing matter. As I think we all know, the age issue is no laughing matter. Boys, this is no laughing matter. One of you could have been seriously hurt. Termites are no laughing matter. They've been known to destroy entire homes. This disease is no laughing matter. It's quite deadly if not treated immediately. Trying to find a place to live at the moment is no laughing matter.
Have it coming.
He got a ticket for speeding, but he had it coming.
Ele levou uma multa por excesso de velocidade, mas ele estava mesmo pedindo por isso.
Bill broke a window, so he has a punishment coming to him. You may not like being reprimanded, but you have to admit you had it coming. You had that reprimand coming for a very long time.
Você estava pedindo para levar essa bronca.
I do feel sorry for him, but I'm afraid he had it coming. I'm not sorry to hear that he lost his job. He had it coming. He thinks he can break all the rules, but believe me, he's got it coming to him one day. He's got it coming to him when he takes the exams and finds out how difficult they are. That's it, Bill. Now you've got it coming.
Go, boy, next door.
He was dependable, straightforward, the boy next door.
Ele era confiável, direto, tipo simples e honesto.
He was dependable, straightforward, the boy next door.
The boy next door.
She was the girl next door type.
Garota sem nada fora do comum.
She's a big star now, but her fans still think of her as the girl next door.
Girl next door.
With the accessibility of technology now, the next billionaire could be the boy next door. You never know. Mary was always the girl next door, but when I came home from college, I realized I was in love with her. She seemed like the girl next door. She was always the girl next door, a quiet and friendly type. I've always been attracted to the girl next door type. That explains why I'm always falling in love. She was only a girl next door, but she was my girl next door. I would never say she is the girl next door type. She's more like a movie star type.
Do the talking. Talking.
I'm always the one who's got to do the talking.
Tomar a dianteira da conversa. Do the talking.
When we get in to see him, you'd better let me do the talking. When the girls come over, let me do the talking. She did the talking that night. It's safer to let your lawyer do the talking. Do us all a favor and let me do the talking. I think you should consider letting me do the talking. Please be tactful and let him do the talking. When the next one finally arrives, let me do the talking. Let's just let our lips do the talking. I'll let my body do the talking. Your SOS call will do the talking for you. They let their bullets do the talking. It didn't matter who the DJ was, as the music did the talking and the action was on the dance floor.
Play for time.
My computer crashed just as the meeting began, so I had to play for time while I waited for it to reboot.
Enrolar. Play for time. Enrolar.
One of the first principles of hostage negotiation is to play for time at every opportunity.
Tentar ganhar tempo. Play for time.
The lawyers for the defense were playing for time while they looked for a witness. We can't sign the agreement yet. We'll have to play for time.
Teremos de enrolar.
I just have to make a phone call first, she said, playing for time. They're just playing for time, hoping that the situation will resolve itself. I'll play for time while you sneak out the window. Pierce was playing for time, trying to decide if the call was genuine or not. The government is playing for time by asking for a new report.
Tentando ganhar tempo.
If I can play for time a bit longer, they might lower their price. The president's decision is being seen as an attempt to play for time.
Page turner.
The book is a page turner.
O livro é envolvente.
Her latest novel is a real page turner.
Page turner.
It's an extraordinary page turner that also happens to be a major work of literature.
Envolvente.
It is rare that a piece of research, whatever its other merits, can be described as a page turner. But in this case, such a description is not inappropriate. I can't wait to read this novel. I am sure it's going to be a page turner.
Page turner.
The whole process of making a book into a page turner is all about the rubber bands placed inside the text. The book is a page turner, and now I cannot take a break until I complete reading it. You know I cannot resist a page turner. Why did you have to recommend such a good book when you know I have to go away on holiday soon? She has written a book recently, and it is a complete page turner.
Envolvente.
I am trying to write a page turner, but it is not so good so far. You cannot just create a page turner of a book within a few weeks. It takes a lot of time and effort. The most I got from all the effort was that my book was considered a page turner by the people that read it.
Uphill struggle.
Making our money last until we next get paid is always an uphill struggle.
É sempre uma batalha.
The company has been facing an uphill struggle to boost profits. We did get one goal back, but it was always an uphill struggle.
Uma batalha árdua.
The incumbent is so popular that defeating her will be an uphill struggle.
Uma batalha dura.
I'm terrible at math, so I have a real uphill struggle ahead of me if I want to improve my grade in algebra. After the recent scandal, he faces an uphill struggle to win back public support before the next election. The opposition face an uphill struggle to win back voters. It'll be an uphill battle to get the new proposals accepted. Recovering from the accident will be an uphill battle for her, but she's doing well. Rehabilitation will be an uphill struggle. Unless you have a goal, your learning will be an uphill struggle.
Uphill struggle. Luta árdua. The end of the road.
It looks like the peace process has come to the end of the line. I am sure this is the end of the road for him. The administration realizes now that they've come to the end of the road of their policy. If she doesn't stop stealing, there's only jail at the end of the road. We've struggled on for as long as we could, but now we're at the end of the line. When the bank refused to lend us any more money, we realized we'd reached the end of the road. My relationship with Jeannie has come to the end of the road. A loss in the primary elections will mean the end of the road for his campaign. They reached the end of the road as a couple a long time ago. Our marriage had reached the end of the line.
Fly solo.
Today he is due to become the youngest person to fly solo around the world.
Voar sozinha.
A student pilot shall not fly solo unless authorized to do so and supervised by a flight instructor. If you absolutely insist, I promise you I will phone you every single time I fly solo. I'm flying solo at the convention. I'm just flying solo at the bar right now. What are you up to? Well, I'm afraid you'll have to fly solo from here on, Jason. I'm flying solo on Halloween. Going to stay in and watch horror movies.
Ficarei sozinha.
I don't want to date right now. I prefer to fly solo.
Eu prefiro ficar sozinho.
I broke up with my girlfriend again. I don't know. My gut tells me that maybe I need to fly solo. Looking slim and tanned in a peach mini dress, the 31-year-old was flying solo at the nuptials as her footballer boyfriend was busy training. Now that my only colleague has retired, I'm flying solo.
Safety net.
The welfare system was set up to provide a safety net for the poor.
Colete salva-vidas aos pobres.
Unemployment insurance is a safety net for people who lose their jobs.
Safety net. Colete salva-vidas.
The ability to declare bankruptcy is one of the oldest safety nets that the government provides working people. The state set up a safety net for those who can't afford health insurance. In the old days, when there was no adequate social safety net, parents regarded having a son as making an investment for their old age. Automation means that people are working more for less and without a safety net. Welfare is the only real safety net for low-income workers. This system provides a safety net for those in real need. With the unpredictability of freelance work, I always make sure I have money in my savings account as a safety net. Cuts to welfare are just one example of how society's safety net has been weakened.
Cortes na assistência social são apenas um exemplo de como o colete salva-vidas da sociedade tem sido enfraquecido.
Cuts to welfare are just one example of how society's safety net has been weakened.
Keep your head down.
I had to keep my head down so my ex wouldn't recognize me as I walked by. Carla kept her head down as she approached the front door, glancing up briefly when the two officers introduced themselves. I have pain in my left shoulder when I keep my head down or in moving my left arm a lot. I kept my head down and pretended to be consuming the scraps left on my dish. It was good advice to keep my head down in the early months. Even his most bitter opponents are keeping their heads down. But life, of course, teaches lesser men to keep their heads down and their mouths shut. I have got to keep my head down and dance to my dad's tune for now. He kept his head down under fire, avoided trouble, trusted in luck to keep him alive.
Ele ficou na dele sob ataque, evitou problemas e confiou na sorte para mantê-lo vivo.
He kept his head down under fire, avoided trouble, trusted in luck to keep him alive. Do what you're told and keep your head down.
Fica na sua.
My advice to you is to keep your head down for the moment. It'll blow over. I just decided to keep my head down and do my job, and eventually I was accepted by my male colleagues. If you had been content to keep your head down and lead a quiet life, none of this would have happened. All his instincts told him to keep his head down. He didn't need Lily's constant nagging to remind him he was in deep trouble. If he keeps his head down, he's set for life. When he gets a chance of winning, he keeps his head down and really goes for it. He kept his head down for weeks before the final exams.
Ele trabalhou duro por semanas antes das provas finais.
He kept his head down for weeks before the final exams.
Suffice it to say. Basta dizer.
Suffice it to say that they're having marital problems.
Suffice to say.
Suffice it to say that Mike won't be going to Tina's birthday party after what he said about her to her boss.
Basta dizer.
Suffice it to say that afterwards we never met again. I won't tell you all that was said at the meeting. Suffice it to say that they approved our plan. Suffice to say that we will not be hiring you any more cars in the future. I won't go into the details of our conversation, but suffice it to say that Bob won't be coming back on Monday. Suffice it to say that working with Kelvin was not a very pleasant experience. Deb found out who I am. She knows everything. Everything? How? It's a long story. Just suffice to say she's not handling it well. Suffice it to say that they were not considered suitable for this project. We won't speculate on who will go and who will stay, but suffice to say that there will be a considerable number of new faces next year. Suffice to say that it was more than a couple of years ago. Suffice to say, she has a lot on her hands with 4 children. I won't go into all of the details. Suffice it to say that the whole event was a complete disaster.
Pie in the sky.
Their plans to set up their own business are just pie in the sky.
Os planos deles de montar o próprio negócio são só ilusão. Pie in the sky, só ilusão.
Their plans to set up their own business are just pie in the sky. I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player, but I knew it was probably pie in the sky.
Só fantasia.
He can't help thinking it's all just pie in the sky talk. Ideally, what I would like to see would be free childcare, but I think that's a bit pie in the sky at the moment.
Pouco irrealista.
Changes are a real possibility. This is not pie in the sky stuff. He keeps talking about how he'll move to Los Angeles to be a famous actor, but it's just pie in the sky if you ask me. If you'd spend more time working and less time coming up with these pie in the sky fantasies, you might actually get somewhere in life. His dream of being hired as a sports editor proved to be pie in the sky.
Fantasia.
At first, his theories were dismissed as pie in the sky. She thinks her book will be a bestseller, but that's just pie in the sky.
So much for.
The car won't start. So much for our trip to the beach.
Lá se vai a nossa viagem para a praia.
The car won't start. So much for our trip to the beach. It's raining. So much for our perfect weather.
Lá se vai nosso clima perfeito.
Another rise in income tax. So much for all those election promises. Well, so much for the producers. But what of the consumers? The mechanic said the entire engine needs to be replaced. Well, so much for our road trip.
Bem, lá se vai o nosso passeio de carro.
It just started raining. So much for our picnic this afternoon. So much for John's help. He just called in sick and can't come to work today. She gave the job to the other manager. So much for all her promises to me. Well, so much for that idea. We'll have to look for a better solution.
Bem, aquela ideia já era.
So much for the new CEO. He lasted less than a week before he was fired for improper conduct. Well, I guess it'll never work. So much for that project. So much for polite introductions. It's now time to get down to business. So much for this year's sales figures. Now let's estimate next year's. So much for the situation in the Far East. Now let's turn our attention to South America.
On board.
The plane had 125 passengers and crew on board.
A bordo.
Is there a doctor on board? We have a sick passenger. When everyone is on board, we will leave. With all passengers on board, the station master blew the whistle, and the train left the station. We have a new engineer on board who specializes in repairing these kinds of computers.
Na equipe, on board.
Welcome to the company, Dan. It's great to have you on board. Our company has a computer specialist on board to advise us about the latest technology. It's good to have you on board for this project. Let's bring Rob on board for the Saudi deal. He's the expert. Is everyone on board with the new plan? Then let's get to work.
Estão todos de acordo com o novo plano?
You will be pleased to note that we have taken your suggestions on board in formulating the present policy. The entire class was on board for the excursion to the park.
Have a thin ear.
Unfortunately, most karaoke singers have a tin ear.
Não levam um jeito para a música.
My wife is a talented musician, but I have a tin ear.
Mas eu não levo jeito para a música. I have a thin ear.
I think I had better not try to sing along with you. I have a tin ear and would ruin your performance. While McCain was at his most gracious, it was his audience who had tin ears. Anyone can tune a piano with it. You really have a tin ear. Our president simply has a tin ear for how to speak to people.
Não leva jeito.
Worst of all, for a playwright specializing in characters who use the vernacular, he has a tin ear for dialogue. When it comes to portraying certain American cultural expressions, the BBC seems to have a tin ear. Add to this that I have a tin ear for US politics, and my qualifications for commenting on last week's election are poor. Don't try to joke around with him. He has a tin ear and can't distinguish sarcasm. In so many places, the lectionary seems to have a tin ear, without regard for the artistic, musical, dramatic quality of biblical texts. The president, for example, has experienced several instances of his jokes falling on tin ears.
Or so.
Tickets cost $20 or so.
Aproximadamente.
They raised $200 or so for charity. The job won't take long, about 20 minutes or so. 400 or so guests will be there. Though rates are heading down, they still offer real returns of 8% or so. We have to leave in 5 minutes or so. We plan to stay a week or so. I stopped reading after 30 or so pages. How many more chairs do you think we'll need? Probably 20 or so.
Cerca de.
Add a kilo or so of sugar. Matt got me a room there for a week or so when I first came here. The driver usually spends 4 hours or so helping to load and prepare his lorry.
Caminhão, lorry. A bit of a.
He's a bit of a rascal.
Ele é pouco malandro.
I felt like a bit of a fool.
Eu me senti pouco tolo.
It looks like they left in a bit of a hurry.
Pouco de pressa.
It's all a bit of a mess.
Bagunçado.
Frank is a nice enough guy, but he's a bit of a dolt.
Pateta, adulto.
I seem to have developed a bit of resistance, clearly. I had a bit of a shock when I saw him. This comes as a bit of a disappointment. There's just a bit of an issue with our Wi-Fi at the moment. It should be back on in a few minutes. It looks to be a bit of a mess for the Prime Minister. We may have a bit of a problem on our hands.
So rough.
Do you know what I mean? Sort of.
Mais ou menos. So rough.
I'm only joking, sort of. Aren't you hungry? Sort of. I'm mostly just tired. Are you feeling better? Sort of. My throat isn't sore anymore, but my nose is still congested. What do you think about all these new laws? Do they worry you? Sort of.
Mais ou menos.
I was sort of hoping to leave early today. I feel sort of sorry for him, even though I know he's not a nice person.
Eu sinto meio que pena dele.
I feel sort of sorry for him, even though I know he's not a nice person. I sort of made my own happiness. I sort of like him, but I don't know why. Well, I sort of thought we could go out together sometime. It was sort of a shock when I found out. I'm happy that it's summertime, but I'm still sort of sad that school is over. Whatever sort of woman Trish was, thought Malone, he loved her. It's some sort of private international security force. He's the sort of character people ignore, but that ends up saving the day. The sort of worker who would always see that the office wheels never stopped turning.
Give or take.
It costs £200, give or take.
Mais ou menos. Give or take.
There were maybe 20 people there, give or take.
Mais ou menos. Give or take.
It takes about 5 hours to get there, give or take. The repair will cost me about $1,000, give or take. I'll be there for 4 days, give or take. It'll be ready at 6 o'clock, give or take a few minutes.
Com margem de
The
erro.
building is 90 feet tall, give or take a few feet. 3,000 people came, give or take a few hundred. Each talk lasts half an hour, give or take 5 minutes. The structure is thought to be around 2,000 years old, give or take a decade or so. Give or take the occasional argument, my sister and I get along pretty well. Give or take a bathroom or two, the house has remained much the same since then. We're in Manchester, not Sydney, though on a sunny day the two cities are similar, give or take the bridge, harbor, and opera house.
Com exceção da ponte.
Give or take a bathroom or two, the house has remained much the same since then.
Com exceção de 1 ou 2 banheiros, a casa permaneceu praticamente a mesma desde então.
Give or take a bathroom or two, the house has remained much the same since then.
Honest memory.